It's the Trail Junction Center in Norristown, and that's relevant relative to the Chester Valley Trail because that point where the Chester Valley Trail will tie into the Schuylkill River Trail in Norristown, at that junction, there is an old freight station that the county bought several years ago, and it's essentially sat there for years unused and unrenovated, but it's got this really amazing history to it. And it's also just a really special place because of where it sits relative to these two regional trails coming together. It's our hope that by the end of 2023 into early 2024, the Trail Junction Center will be up and running. And the purpose behind the Trail Junction Center and the idea behind it is that it will serve as community, we call it flex space. We're not designing it for a specific use. We really envision it being available for any number of community activities. It's got this really amazing open area right in the central part of the building with roll-up doors. And it's our vision that that will be a space that could be used by the community for anything from farmers markets to bicycle repair workshops, anything that the community sees how they could use that building will be open to any of those ideas. And of course, it'll be an important place for trail users too. And it's going to have bathrooms, which for anyone who rides or walks on trails, that's a necessity. So to have those at a place that's so centrally located is important too for our trail community, trail user community. So within that pipeline of projects that the county works on, we just recently completed a feasibility study for a bridge over Germantown Pike in Plymouth Township. And that bridge would carry another one of the county's really important trails known as the Cross County Trail. Eventually, when that 17-mile trail is built out, it will extend from its connection with the Schuylkill River Trail all the way up to where it would tie into the Pennypack Trail, almost up at the Bucks County line where Montgomery County meets Bucks County. Right now, there's only a 3-mile segment that's built from roughly Conshohocken up to Plymouth Township. Then it hits Germantown Pike, which if you've ever been in that area where Germantown Pike and Chemical Road are, it's a pretty perilous and dynamic area for traffic. And so to take that trail across the road, it was determined a few years ago that that was really not feasible from a safety standpoint. So it was decided that a bridge was the best means of getting the trail over Germantown Pike. Trails are interesting because it's not always the longest segments of trails that you build that necessarily have the biggest impact. Sometimes a really small trail project that you build can fill a gap that actually opens up a huge amount of access to the broader network. So we have two trail projects that fit into that small but potent category, I would say. One of which was just completed, and that was about a 0.8-mile portion of the Pennypack Trail up in the northeastern part of Montgomery County in Upper Moreland Township. And that trail gap was constructed in 2021, and it connected where the Pennypack Trail ended at Byberry Road all the way up to County Line Road, which is the boundary between Montgomery and Bucks counties. And by closing that very short gap, that enabled the approximately 6 miles of existing Pennypack Trail in Montgomery County to then tie into the Newtown Rail Trail in Bucks County. So by closing that gap, we suddenly expanded the ability for people on the Pennypack Trail to get up into Bucks County. And on the lower end of it, very soon people will be able to ride all the way into Philadelphia on the Pennypack Trail. So that's an example of one of those really small gaps that has a lot of juice to it. The other one that we're currently working on, and this one's in engineering right now, is a trail of about the same length. It's about 0.9 miles And that will, it's a portion of the Schuylkill River Trail in Lower Pottsgrove Township. And that trail will connect industrial, where the Schuylkill River Trail currently exists and ends at Industrial Highway. And it will, that 0.9 mile segment that we're currently engineering when built will then connect into the Route 422 bridge over the Schuylkill River, and then tie into the Chester Valley, the Chester County side of the Schuylkill River Trail. When we build that small gap of the Schuylkill River Trail from Industrial Highway to the 422 bridge, that will literally create or close the gap for the entirety of the Schuylkill River Trail from Philadelphia to Reading. And so it will be an uninterrupted trail all the way across Montgomery County and ultimately to Reading. The Schuylkill River Trail is envisioned to be 120 miles long, ultimately. I think about 75 miles are currently open. It's really testimony to the importance of not getting overwhelmed by, you know, a scale of 120 miles, because you need to take it piece by piece. But it's really this incremental progress that ultimately builds out that broader vision that everybody has for our trail network. So it's really testimony to that. The other important piece to this is that it's the efforts of multiple parties. It's not just one entity that makes it happen, it's multiple entities working together. And I think Southeastern Pennsylvania is really up there in terms of the power of its partnerships in building out our trail network, with organizations like the Bicycle Coalition of Greater Philadelphia and the Circuit Trail Coalition and DCNR. State agencies are super important. All those entities are important not only for advocacy, but for funding. And then, of course, the planning and design and construction of the trails. The infrastructure needs to be available in order to enable people to use trails more functionally, I would say, as a commuting resource. And then, and we're working hard toward that end. The other piece is just an awareness of the trails as that resource. And that depends on getting the word out and making people aware of this, but also making the trails more equitable for all people, because not everybody has a bike. Not everybody's aware that the trails even exist. So we need, as the trail network gets built out, we need to be really conscious of all of the people who could benefit from the trails and make sure that we're tapping into all communities so that everybody's aware and has access to them, so that everybody can benefit and not just one small slice of society. It's that passion for trails that drives all this to happen. I mean, this is my work, but I do it because I love it. And I love it because the outcome affects so many people. I mean, I think about that Chester Valley Trail segment. When we make that connection, it's going to impact thousands of people. I mean, thousands of people are going to use that. And that's pretty awesome to have that as part of what we do and part of our mission.